Can everybody hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, usually people can hear me, so. My name is John Lucier, and I'll be the MC tonight. This is Sherry Lucier, and she's the president of the Kiwanis. She's going to be speaking in just a second. I don't have a script tonight, so I'm just going to wing it. Usually they give me a script, but they say I go off tangent too long, talk forever, and so they didn't even give me a piece of paper tonight. As you know, these are the Humanitarian Awards, and they're geared up to honor people from different organizations in town that go over and above and do a lot for everybody. And the organizations thought that these people tonight were very worthy of this distinction, and they're going to be honored tonight. Right now, Sherry would like to say a couple of words, so go ahead, Sherry.
Thanks. Just some housekeeping things for the most part, but what a great turnout. Thank you, everyone. In these days, having our hearts warmed by something like this is what we all need. I would like to thank Hazen Union for having us here. I would like to thank the Hardwick television station for filming this. It's not live, so you'll be able to go on after it's edited and watch it. I would like to thank Sally Bellavance up at the top there. She's taking pictures. So when you are presenting or receiving an award, pretend it's like graduation and just kind of stay there for a second so she can get a good picture. She's got a telephoto lens, so she can stay out of the way. But I'd like to thank Civic Standard for providing some wonderful mingle food for afterwards. And I'd like to also announce that if you haven't heard of it and you do like to give blood, the blood drive is on town meeting day, and you can just go to Red Cross and type in Hardwick, and you will be able to make yourself an appointment, and we would love to have you. We still have some openings, and we'll probably announce it at town meeting too, so that people can do walk-ins if we have them. Did I remember everybody? I think so. If I don't, I'll just run and tell John, and he can do it. I think Rose wanted to say a word too before.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to
point out these postcards. In April, we're going to do a program that we're calling Hardwick State, and it's a free pop-up townwide university where anybody can be a teacher and anybody can be a student. So we're asking people to think about anything that you know how to do or how to teach. You don't have to be a teacher to teach something. Everybody's an expert in something. We've got about 20 people already signed up for everything from how to publish a book to how to sharpen your chainsaw. So we're just looking for more contributions. You can sign up. There's a little link there, or you can stop by and see us. And then the whole town will be covered with free classes that weekend. Thanks.
How long are the classes?
Any length is okay. We'll fit them all together. Maybe not like 4 hours long, but ideally 45 to an hour and a half.
Okay.
Ideally.
Okay.
But we'll have some panel discussions too, and some like film showings and stuff like that. So lots of possibilities.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Before we get started, does anybody want a program that doesn't have one? We got plenty of them. Take them and pass them out here. Okay. Our first nominating organization is the Hardwick Historical Society, and to speak on their behalf will be Judy Nudd and Skip Duncan.
I'll hold this. I've got something to do now.
Yeah. Ready? Elizabeth H. Dow, born in 1943, also known as Wiz, was reared on a dairy farm in central Pennsylvania, the second of the 4 children of William Hicks and Martha Keyes. She received a BA in history from Juniata College in 1965 and a master's in library science from the University of Oregon in 1970. Dow worked as an elementary school librarian in Morrisville, Vermont, 1971 to 1983. She was one of the founders of Vermont's chapter of NOW, National Organization for Women, in 1974. Dow earned a Master of Arts degree in history from the University of Vermont in 1986 and a PhD in library science from the University of Pittsburgh in 1988. She worked as an archivist at the Sheldon Museum in Middlebury, 1988 to 1990, the Vermont State Archives, 1990, and the University of Vermont, 1990 to 2000. She created the archives track in the School of Library and Information Science at Louisiana State University, where she taught from 2001 to 2014. At LSU, she received a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services in 2002 to create the Archival Education Collaborative, which functioned until her retirement in 2014. She was awarded the Distinguished Service Award by the Society of the American Archivists. She has authored 4 books related to archival topics and is currently working on another. Her last one from 2012 sounds very useful. It was co-authored with Lucinda Conkle and titled How to Weed Your Attic, Getting Rid of Junk Without Destroying History. In 2014, Dow retired to Hardwick, Vermont, where her long and prestigious career as an archivist became a tremendous gift for the Hardwick Historical Society. She just graciously accepted a 3rd term as its president.
Yeah, not so graciously.
During her tenure, she has been an amazing fundraiser for the Society and the old train station building where it is housed. Under her guidance, the Angel Room was built to house the archives in a temperature-controlled environment and to ensure that no loss of the building would occur. A sprinkler system was also installed. The building has been developed into a small collecting repository and museum with the History of Hardwick granite exhibit as a focal point. She has led the efforts to categorize and archive all the holdings, as well as digitize some 130 years of Hardwick newspapers. She has also led the board to develop a website for the Historical Society, and this spring will be teaching a class for docents as we institute a docent program for the summer open hours. If the museum is not open, Wiz is just a phone call away from coming to the building and opening it for researchers' needs. Board member Brendan Buckley expressed the view of many when he stated how tremendously helpful Wiz was while he was writing his recent book. Last year, when the Hardwick Gazette decided to go nonprofit, Wiz stepped up to assist it as one of its first board members. If you see the presence of the HHS in Hardwick, you will almost certainly see Wiz. Whether it is as a coin drop, a Main Street event, or the annual meeting presentation, she will be front and center as she is the face of the Hardwick Historical Society. We, the board of the Hardwick Historical Society, are very pleased to nominate her for the Hardwick Humanitarian Award and appreciate all she has done and will do for preserving the history of Hardwick.
I think so. Okay.
Gail. Oh, she had her too.
Yeah, Liz.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. And just a side note, if you haven't been over to see the building at the Hardwick Historical Society, please go over and see what they've done in the last 2 or 3 years. It's really a wonderful, wonderful thing they've done.
And we're looking for docents.
Yeah.
If you'd like to come and hang out at the Historical Society, greet visitors, show them around, explain what they're looking at, we would love to have you there. They talked me out of 10 classes for training into 2 classes for training, which will be going on sometime in the spring, maybe April. Seriously, it's neat. People come in and they look around and they go, ooh. And when they find out about Hardwick's history, they're like, wow, Who would think in a place like this? So if you think you'd like to hang out at the Historical Society for a while, watch Front Porch Forum. I'll be announcing the class. Thank you.
Up next will be a nominee from the town of Hardwick, and our town manager, Opie Upson, will introduce the candidate.
Thank you, John. I'm going to read 3 emails about this person, Kristen Leahy. She can't be here tonight because her child has her last ski race tomorrow, so she's preparing for that. But here are some testimonials from other employees and some of our contractors. So this is from Amanda Fecto's perspective. When flooding occurs, Kristen reaches out to all impacted residents individually and makes sure they are safe and checks in with them to know that they have what they need, such as food, living situations, and cleanup supplies. Afterwards, she goes above and beyond to work with families, explain the process and any paperwork that needs to be done, and continuously communicates with families to make sure they are comfortable moving forward with their business or their homes. She listens to residents' needs to improve town's emergency efforts. She's very knowledgeable in her work, communicates very well with state and federal agencies. The town of Hardwick values Kristen, and we appreciate her time, work ethic, and dedication. And here is an email I received from a contractor that we hired to tear down the motel and several other properties. And this came into my inbox randomly about 3 months after the project was done. And I want to share this with you. We are very thankful yet nervous when the town of Hardwick chose us as the vendor for the demolition of 4 flood damaged properties. Due to the size and scope of the project, there were many challenges, many of which we had never encountered. We, however, were never once challenged with our working relationship with the town of Hardwick. Kristen Leahy was absolutely amazing to work with. She understands the importance of timely communication and that we contractors cannot always email during work hours since we are out in the field getting stuff done. It was commonplace for Kristen to email or answer phone calls after business hours. I was so impressed when she responded to one of my emails at either 10 p.m. or 5:30 a.m. or any time in between. Her quick turnaround time with correspondence was instrumental in keeping the jobs flowing. She even reached out the night Hardwick flooded again to make sure we had moved our equipment to higher ground. Another time, she met with me on a Sunday to review job site progress. I've worked with many municipalities, individuals, and private businesses in the past, but never once have had such an amazing experience as I had working in Hardwick. Kristen Leahy is an amazing, caring, hardworking, conscientious, dedicated, efficient, and many other things that I am at a loss for words to describe. She is the type of worker that we all dream of having, but can't find. And here's an email from another coworker, Casey Rowell. During both the 2023 and 2024 floods, Kristen was boots on the ground in the community, checking on residents that she knew were likely to have been affected by the events. She wasn't just reactive before the second flood, but she was proactive, reaching out to people, looking out for their safety. She is compassionate and empathetic and does what she can to help others. In addition, she is constantly looking ahead to any opportunities that would benefit the town and its residents. So what I want to say about Kristen is that she pushes back with just about everything I ask or have questions about, which I appreciate. And if there's anything that is too confusing for me with the process of government, I go to Kristen, and she's very process-oriented and very helpful to have on the staff. Kristen refers, a couple weeks ago, Kristen referred to herself as a bulldog. And
Kristen is amazing.
yeah, she's a great asset to the town and a wonderful coworker, and we all enjoy having her in the office. So this is for Kristen. Maybe she can teach a class on permitting. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Opie. And I can attest to that because if you know where I live, down by the pavilion, we did have a little water the last 2 years. And Kristen was right there after. And we had a couple of community dinners. She came down, she answered all the neighbors' questions. We told her a couple of things that we thought could be done, like clearing out a little brush and all that stuff. And within 2 weeks, it was all done. So she does respond. She does respond. And she doesn't pull any punches. She'll tell you. Because when we first talked to her, she said, "You're third on the list. We've got 2 other priorities, one of them being the motel section and behind the Jiffy Mart." But I said, okay, well, they'll probably forget us, but she didn't. She was right there knocking on our doors after, so she does tend to everybody, so I can appreciate that. Okay, next up is the Hazen Union Athletic Department with their nomination, and Paulette Colburn is going to come right up to the podium, I guess. Oh, John is. Oh, John and Dave, wow, we got quite the crew here.
So I can't take credit for writing these nice words, but as a lifelong friend, I'm honored to be able to talk about Steve and Karen Collier. Basketball is a game of statistics, but there are some that are not often discussed. Karen and Steve collectively represent over 73 years of keeping the books and the time clock at Hazen Union home basketball. Karen has been here for the girls varsity team for 48 years and the varsity boys for 45. She must have been just 2 when she started. We won't say what our real age. I won't tell them what your real age is. But just think about that for a minute, people. Who in their lifetime have ever stuck with anything for 48 years? That's remarkable. So anyways, the stats we have are the number of games, the stats that we don't have are the number of games they have missed, but we're thinking they're pretty low. They've been here in storms, threats of floods, when Karen was uncomfortably pregnant, when those babies were only 2 weeks old. 2 out of the 3 are here today, by the way. They are loyal, knowledgeable, serious about the game of basketball. They are respected by coaches, referees, and players from all over the state. As a big fan, we like to sit right behind the scoreboard, and we don't always make it for the JV games, but when we do, and Karen and Steve might be just a couple minutes late, she always makes me nervous because I always look for them. But Karen and Steve have supported our kids in many other ways too. Karen coached girls basketball for a couple of years and was a Hazen Key Club advisor for a number of years. Together they have coached baseball, softball, and were enthusiastic fans at any game their children participated in. Currently, their daughter Sarah is on the Vermont State University Linden Lady Hornets softball team. And this is a little bit old. They were fundraising, but Sarah is actually down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina right now, playing softball with their spring training. When asked what they'll do when they no longer have children involved with school sports, they say they have 3 grandchildren to cheer on as they grow. And a couple are here tonight. All three? I'm sorry. So please join us in thanking Karen and Steve for all you do for our kids, sports, and our town.
Thank you, Johnny, and congratulations, Karen and Steve. And Johnny, you're right, 48 years is a long time to stick with one thing, you can ask my wife, because she stuck with me for 48 years. So, still going though, still going. We'll see who lasts longer, right? Okay, up next is the Civic Standard, and we're going to have Rose Friedman come up.
The Civic Standard is delighted to give the Humanitarian Award to Reeve because she relentlessly and single-handedly networks for youth in ways that are small but essential. And she shows up and shows up and shows up and is unconditionally patient and loving. It's like something people say about people, but it's not really true most of the time, but it actually is true with this person. And she shows an unwavering commitment to all youth, and she says to everyone, come as you are, but she really means it. Reeve is a humanitarian because she celebrates all the big and tiny things that people make and do, because she makes tiny things feel big, because she celebrates a kid getting into college the same way she celebrates somebody perfecting their grandma's cookie recipe, because she doesn't overcomplicate connection. Hardwick is lucky to have someone who has made it her job to bring people together around the universal experience of food, and to bring her little grill to cook shish kebabs in the snow outside of Hazen, and to plant flowers in front of the Hazen greenhouse so it looks pretty in case any kids come around in the summer, and to be known by all the kids in the district because of cider and magic beans, and to be a trusted adult for kids and adults too, because we all need a trusted adult. We are lucky to have Reeve on our team because she reminds us that there only is one team and we are all on it.
Congratulations. On another note, if you're ever down at the pavilion, oh, I love living across from that pavilion. Bethany and Reeve, they put on free dinners last year, and community dinners, and people would bring stuff, and you kind of go over there, and of course we went over, and we didn't know Reeve from Adam, and all of a sudden she comes right over, introduces herself, sit at my table, and she does that with everybody. And pretty quick, the community dinners were getting more and more people because everybody was so comfortable. So when you see those dinners advertised, get down there because they are great things. They are great things. Okay, speaking of Bethany and Reeve, they got to come back down here to do for the Center of Ag Economy.
So on behalf of the Center for an Agricultural Economy, we nominated Viva Velzis, who is the Community School Coordinator at Hazen. Viva could not be here this evening due to family things, but Reeve is accepting on behalf of Viva. Viva is an organizer, educator, poet, sound artist, dedicated to creating inclusive spaces where young people feel seen, valued, and supported. Now in their second year as Hazen Union's Community School Coordinator, Viva draws on experience in harm reduction, mental health advocacy, and holistic student care. Viva is an exceptional partner for CAE's work in place-based education and at Atkins Field on creating community and building relationships that make us all more resilient as a community. Viva brings positive energy to every endeavor. CAE is partnering with Viva on 2 winter markets at Hazen with wellness activities and on parallel substance use disorder prevention projects to support new activities and leadership opportunities for youth. Viva also volunteers with the Civic Standard. Grounded in a love for myth, play, and the more than human world, Viva seeks to bring joy, curiosity, and imagination into all they do. They are currently building a cabin with their partner in the woods of Walden.
Yay, Viva!
Yes. I will make sure they get it.
Great neighbor. Great neighbor. We have a great neighbor.
Okay, thank you, Bethany and Reeve. Next up is the Hardwick Children's Holiday Project. And we've got Leanne Lee. Is Allison Martin here?
No, it'd be Lonnie.
Oh, is she? She's not here. Okay, so Leanne Lee.
So, this last December was the 24th year that the Children's Holiday Project has been going. So this coming year, Lottie and I are already talking about what can we do that'll make something special to mark the momentous occasion that it has been going for 25 years, considering it has been completely volunteer run. It had started with the Hardwick Area Patch Office. I was a recipient way back in the day, and that was run by Patch for 2 years, and then the Martin family ran it for a couple of years. My sister had it for 10, and Lottie and I say Lottie and I, it's really Lottie, Bev, and I. On paper, it says Lottie and I coordinate it, but Bev has been there every step of the way. When I have to work and can't get away, Bev is always right there with Lottie to go and meet with Toys for Tots in New Hampshire and picks up the toys. Bev is right there, and it has always been boots on the ground, getting toys all set up. She started out doing it because she, cared about the kids here at Hazen. She's been a para at Hazen for decades and has supported the children and youth of our community. And she also is supporting, her own grandchildren. And I can't say enough. A few of the things that Lottie and I had discussed was that she's patient, she's wise, she brings those attributes to everything she does, whether it's here at school, in the community, through the program. The difference is Lottie and I don't mind generally getting up and being the public face. Bev, probably when Lottie told her that we were doing this, I'm sure there was a little bit of apprehension, because she's not one that will, do the accolades. She's not the one that wants to be in front of the camera, even when Vanessa shows up and says, "Put on your Santa hat. Let's take a picture." But she's always a good sport, and she's been involved. We figured it out. I've been involved for all 24 years, and you ladies, I believe, have been involved for 20 years now. This will be their 21st year this December. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Bev up.
Congratulations, Bev. And if anybody follows that Hardwick Children's Holiday Project, it is a very, very well done organization. And not only do they, you would be amazed at the amount of kids that they find gifts for. And another thing, these people go above and beyond to try to get the kid what they ask for on their Santa's list. So not only do they just go shopping, but they try to do selective shopping. And they have.
We didn't used to have that flexibility, but with generous donations and with the gifts that we get from Toys for Tots, we're able to get, usually, unless it's something really huge, but even then, I don't know how it happens, but we put it out there, and almost always one year we had a child ask for a $140 Carhartt jacket, and we said that is just so beyond our budget, we can't do that. And lo and behold, 3 teachers at Hardwick Elementary pulled their resources and they bought that child that jacket. So I get chills when I think about it. Every time we think that's impossible, it's never gonna happen, somebody comes through, and you just never know. You just never know. You know, we've had bicycles get donated that, you know, somebody's child had asked for a bicycle. We never get bicycles. And, you know, that year we had a bicycle. You just never know.
Yeah,
but we served over 200 kids.
200 kids. Yeah, it's a great organization. It really is. Okay. Next up is Hazen Union School, and we have Audrey Grant and Walker Wright.
Yes. All right. Hi. Heather Wright is a reading interventionist at Hazen Union High School in Hardwick. She's lived in the Hardwick area, managing a small homestead full of horses, turkeys, chickens, ducks, a full garden, and 2 big German shepherds. As a reading interventionist, she works with students to help learn and foster a love of reading. She also goes above and beyond for students, encouraging them to be hard workers, find the joys in life with virtual reality boxing, and being a friend at Hazen for students that need one. After 34 years of teaching, she has created a name for herself as someone who loves all students, wants to highlight the goodness in them, and supports them on their education journey. Heather, can I have you come down, please?
Congratulations, Heather. Well deserved. Safe to say that was probably a surprise. Yeah. Okay, from the Hardwick Gazette, I'd like to have Paul Fix come up.
Thank you, John. Well, these introductions seem to keep getting shorter. I'm going to reverse that. Vanessa Fournier graduated. Do you want to be Fournier or Fournier tonight? Fournier. Depends whether you're in Canada or here. Vanessa Fournier graduated from Hazen Union School in 1973, went to work for a photo place in Bennington, then returned to Hardwick to work for Vin Zeccanelli of Furlan Studio for several years. She started her own photo business in 1979 and has been in photography for 52 years, but worked for the Hardwick Gazette for only 44, so she doesn't beat the 48-year mark. She retired in 2023 and is still taking pictures for the Gazette because she still loves what she does, she says. Vanessa's worked for the Hardwick Gazette longer than anyone else working for the newspaper. Well, I've only worked directly with her for the last year. We did both work for the paper about 15 years ago for Ross Connolly. And I've been in the area for 35 years, encountering her many times, as I'm sure most of you have, as she's taking photos at area events. Vanessa's been clicking her shutter to take Gazette photographs for those 46 years, except for a gap of 8 years when she worked elsewhere. She started her career with the Popes when the black and white photography process involved handling trays of stinky chemicals with tongs in a dark room to create negatives and prints. Vanessa now carries the latest of digital cameras and has the luxury of producing a color product for the all-digital online version that the Hardwick Gazette has become. I'm not sure Vanessa herself fully understands her value to the paper. Though she works alone out in the community taking pictures, by virtue of attending so many significant events, she is in the eyes, the ears, and even the voice of, she is the eyes, the ears, and even the voice of the paper, interacting with almost everyone who isn't a recluse. Imagine if it were your job to crash every party in town, day in, day out, month after month, year after year, for 46 years. Some see Vanessa out and about in our town almost more than they see their own family members. Vanessa shows up everywhere as a friendly face and coaxes us to stand, smile, and turn our heads so the sun doesn't reflect off our glasses. Vanessa says with a giant smile of her own, "I love what I do. In 46 years, I've only had about 10 people refuse to be photographed for the Gazette. During that time, I very conservatively estimate she has documented with pictures at least 10,000 events in the life of Hardwick and our neighboring communities. Vanessa has been at least as much the face of the Hardwick Gazette as the editors and other staff have been over the years. She's heard the community's praise and complaints about the paper during that time and always shares them so we can make things right when they need to be made right. We nominated Vanessa for the Hardwick Humanitarian Award because we appreciate her work for the paper and especially her ability to capture action shots of children playing school sports.
Different without your camera.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa.
Congratulations, Vanessa, well deserved. Vanessa and I actually went to school together for 12 years, right up through. And you're lucky, Vanessa, because I wanted to introduce you tonight, but when I showed the Gazette what I was going to say, they said no way. So you're lucky. So now we have the Hardwick Kiwanis Club and Audrey Billings.
Okay, the Kiwanis Club, they were talking about the Humanitarian Award, and the first person that popped into my head was my neighbor and friend, Diane Cochran. She's known me my whole life. She was born in April 6, 1948. She grew up her whole life in Walden. She went to school there, Danville. Went to college in California, spent a few years in Alaska, then came back to Vermont. She worked for P&A Plumbing and Heating. She worked for, she did the Hardwick Restorative Justice for 16 years. She worked with Aware for 12 years. 36 years she did the Walden Fall Foliage Dinners. 30 years they did the summer suppers at the Walden Church. She's a trustee of the Walden Methodist Church, Noyesville. She's also president of our Home Dem, Women's Home Dem in Walden. She also is a board of Civil Authority.
a notary for Walden, justice of the peace for 30 years, about there. Faith in action. She's waitressed. She worked as a secretary, office manager. She was a Sunday school teacher for 13 years. And she spent most of her life helping everybody else. And she, you know, if you need somebody to talk to or you need anything, you go to her. And if you want to know what's going on, you just pop into her store. She opened up the store in Walden on the corner of Route 15 and 20 Cabot Road in South Walden. It'll be 33 years she's had that little one-room store this year. She also organized we've been doing yard sales to raise money for the Walden churches to help keep them up. And she's been big in doing that. And I was handed this little note from the Walden Town Clerk office staff to read. So here it goes. We would like to acknowledge and express our gratitude for the countless years Diane has assisted in elections with attending the voter checklist and counting ballots for her participation in the Board of Abatement, Board of Civil Authority, and the ARPA committee. She has been a justice of the peace for over 20 years, a notary for the town residents with the assistance of Walden Home Dem, and has taken on the task of providing lunch at the Walden annual town meetings. And she does this all while being proprietor of the Corner Stop and Shop and director of the Walden Methodist Church. And it says, thank you for all you continue to do for this town. The Walden Town Clerk's office staff, Debbie Messier, Diane Bannister, and Dia Mitchell. Thank you, Diane. I should grab it, huh?
Congratulations, Diane, well deserved. Okay, that actually concludes our program for tonight, but before we go, first of all, I want to thank all the... You didn't put them on my list. Let me finish, maybe I'll pick them up. First of all, I want to thank all the nominating organizations, and of course, I want to thank all the recipients of the awards for all the work that they do for this town. And while I was sitting there listening to this, I actually had an epiphany. We live in a very small town, and every year we have these humanitarian awards. This is like the 5th year, I think, for the Kiwanis to do it. And you wonder, like, okay, are we going to run out of people that do great things? No, because every year somebody steps up. Some organization has another person step up. And there are a lot of towns around that would like to be like Hardwick in this area, I'll bet, because I think we have some wonderful people in this town that go over and above, and we don't have any divisions at all, and it's just a wonderful place to live. So, and that's because of all you folks, and I really appreciate that, so thank you. Now, following these awards, friends and family are welcome to stay and socialize and enjoy some of these snacks. Thanks to the civic standard, of course. Other than that, Sherry, would you like to say something?
Come here.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Well, one thing is that he may have told you he was off on tangents and all of that. He's full of it. I would like to thank John. He's been a wonderful MC for more than this year, several years. And his wisdom and his humor are what tie this all together. And so thank you, John.
Thank you. Can I go now?
And then if you could all look around, I would like everybody people sometimes wonder what Kiwanis is or Kiwanis does. A lot of us are here tonight. Can you raise your hand if you're a Kiwanian? Look at that. There's a lot. And that's probably half of us. We have a lot of events that we do. This is one of them. But we've always been a major part of the Spring Festival, and the parade is definitely ours. So look for that ahead of time. We are an awesome organization. We are getting older, so if you're younger and you want to join, you know. But that's what I wanted you to all look at, is see how many of us are Kiwanians. There's a lot of us. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And help yourself.